Hello, I'm Brad Jarvis, and this is a short take. Okay, here's a quick progress report. It is August 3rd, 2024. This is a mind map that I created that shows sources of belief that people can have. They can either get the word of a person or persons about something that informs their belief. They can have an idea or multiple ideas that they choose to believe that either somebody else has created or that they've created. They can have understanding, which is a result of direct experience or just the direct experience itself. The understanding is coupled with logic, possibly, in order to connect experiences together and come up with an explanation that encompasses those experiences and potentially others that they haven't had themselves. Then there are related beliefs, beliefs that they've acquired from other sources, which can combine with the new one. And so the belief that they end up with as a result can be either the result of just one of those, or it could be more than one of those sources. And the belief then stands by itself as the embodiment of those sources. And so that will be a guiding concept for actions that they might take in the future. Then there's the role of value. There's roles of people who have certain combinations of values. I've identified before that there are three core values that a person can have. That is waste, habitat, and people. So they can have one or more of those values in different proportions. I have taken the extra step here of identifying roles that correspond to some of those combinations. If you've checked out my videos and writing about groups, you'll see the four groups here that I've identified as being the equivalent of what was referred to in the past as Group 1, Group 2, Group 3, and Group 4, which are statistical combinations of values that are derived from the statistics of historical resource use. Group 1 is the consumer. This is a person who maximizes waste, which is the resources that cannot be directly consumed for a person or other creatures' basic needs. That is the maximum. That's maximized in terms of value. Habitat is second in value, and then at the bottom of the least valuable is people. And here I've shown the relative percentages. I basically said 1/3 for as an average for each of those values, but the amount shown for the role itself is here represents percentage of the world population over the majority of history. That can change and will change as the amount of total waste increases and tends to push the habitat lower, and then eventually reduces the human population. But each of these groups corresponds to a range of values that is between the intersections of equal value for the different values shown here. For instance, the consumer again maximizes waste. The extractor maximizes habitat, and waste is second. The builder, or group 3, maximizes habitat and prioritizes people, is second to that. And then what I'm calling the breeder is the person who maximizes people above all else, and then habitat comes after that. And these are just names that I made up that roughly correspond to what I see as activities that embody the main features of each of those groups. So the consumer focused on waste. The extractor is taking habitat and converting it into waste. The builder is taking habitat and converting that mostly into people. And then the breeder is basically just primarily increasing the size of the population, and can do that with habitat primarily as the source, which would be the natural thing that other species do. They rely entirely on habitat and value that second only to to increasing their populations. So all that is captured in this one diagram. The goal of using these things is to help frame narratives about situations that people will encounter in their lives, and help to provide some context for decisions that they make, for interactions that they have with other people and with other species, and also dives a little bit more into the philosophical side of things in the description of belief, particularly when you're dealing with ideas and the development of understanding. The use of logic and experiences to create understanding can be informal. All of us do it to some extent. It's part of our nature, of the way our minds are wired, I think, to make connections between things, experiences, try to find some explanation that can be used in lieu of the specific experiences. Logic is something that is also an innate thing. I think of it as essentially the language of relationships. It's a way of describing relationships, and between things, between experiences. In the more formal sense of logic, it gets into mathematics, which brings in quantification of theoretical concepts, as well as physical things, and applies logic to those. Science is focused on the physical manifestation of understanding, taking universal experiences that can be reproduced, can be shared, but are based on observation of the real world, and then seeks to identify how those observations relate to each other and come up with some explanation of those relationships that enable the prediction and explanation of experiences that not only might have already been exist, but also things that might not be directly um, experienced in the past and the future, other parts of the universe, etc. So that's just a quick overview. I've incorporated all of that into this one diagram. The proportions that I've assigned in each of those topics are variable, depending on the situation, on the people involved, etc. I've just put representative values in just for something to discuss. So anyway, did all that in about a day. That's the result of a whole lot of thinking.